It is 8:30. It is the 2nd of March. March came in like a lamb, so let's just wait and see. At any rate, call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to acknowledge the minutes from February 23rd and February 24th.
So moved. Oh, second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meet with the county engineer.
Good morning, supervisors.
You're still county.
I'm still county engineer. That's first Monday of the month, so we had our safety meeting this morning, went through half of the NeoGov basic construction safety. We just had a little discussion about visiting other road crews to watch and compare means and methods of doing different construction and maintenance procedures, and the importance of notifying the county engineer if they did want to go inspect other folks' work. I'm a firm believer in cross-training with other folks that may do the same operations that you do differently. I think there's value in that. And I encourage it when they can do it, that it doesn't, at times when it doesn't interfere with what their normal duties are. But I do want to be notified when they do that. So if somebody calls to report that one of our trucks is not in the county, that I know why it's not in the county. They're not messing off. They're actually there for a purpose. So if somebody calls with concerns, I can address it.
Okay.
Supervisor Ledger joined us this morning. Did not disrupt the meeting.
He was very quiet.
Yes, he was very quiet other than when he first came in and kept pestering the guy trying to set up the Zoom or the monitor. Yeah. Brush cutting, ditching, and the bridge on Palm is gone. It got moved out last week. Right now, we have a excavator parked across the road, and when they're ready to move that out, we'll get some rock in there to get the road blocked off so it's safe, so people don't mistakenly try to run through our road closure and cross the bridge that isn't there. With the weather being,
Good luck with that.
yeah, with the weather being as nice as it is, we anticipate getting started on that low water stream crossing sooner rather than later. As long as it stays like this, the creek's down, it's a good time to get after that work.
There's still some water flow there.
Not much. I mean, it is pretty stagnant right now. It has been frozen, but there's no real current at this time. See, we received the bids for contract rock. You guys have that on the agenda, contract with Downstone. We had a utilities get together for the Libertyville Road project on Thursday, to coordinate with some of the utility companies and the prime contractor, Norris, to assure that prior to them getting started on the project, that the utilities are out of the way so that we don't close things down and then have a big delay waiting on utilities to get moved. The folks that replied to us and responded were very agreeable and seemed very willing to work to expedite their parts of the project to get things out of the way. So we're happy with that. I will be gone tomorrow and Wednesday up at Iowa LTAP, being trained on National Environmental Protection. I can't remember what the A stands for, but it's basically the first step of any federal aid, or one of the first steps of federal aid projects, is to have the NEPA paperwork completed. And I've done a little bit of it for our road projects. I haven't had to do any for a bridge project, but I anticipate that I will, and it's more in depth on that, so. It's good to have that training. See, Melissa's gone this week. She's actually on vacation. So we will try and struggle through without her.
Go to St. Louis to see him in the office.
I think Florida.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's warmer there.
yeah,
Sometimes it's warmer there.
it'll be a challenge, but I think we'll get by. Just don't call and ask any hard questions. I think that's all I have.
Item 2 is discuss and consider road maintenance agreement for ITC transmission line construction.
Yes, I think we've discussed this. ITC is going to put another transmission line pretty much in the footprint of their existing easement. I think this one is a 334,500 or 340,000 volt line. The new one will be, I think, 650 or something. So it's going to be a rather substantial line compared to what they have in here. They anticipate a lot of truck traffic, bringing in rock for footings, bringing in material, heavy excavators and basically oversized post hole diggers to dig the footing holes for the drill rigs and stuff for the power poles. And they anticipate they'll do some damage to the roads. So this agreement, I forwarded it to Elizabeth for her review. We made a couple of changes, sent it back to them. They made some changes, sent it back to us. I think what we have now is a workable agreement with them, that they will dust control their haul routes, take care of any damage. If they don't take care of it, we will, and it has provisions for us to charge them for our time. And Lynn County had a similar project with them. So I asked their county engineer for a copy of their road use agreement with them, and this pretty much mirrors what Lynn County negotiated with them. So. Yes, sir.
Is this I think it's the substation north of town, so going east and west or north and
It's
south?
coming in. It's coming in from kind of up, not quite the Packwood area. And then it diagonals down towards Vedic City. And then comes across to that substation there. And then runs east towards Lock Ridge and then kind of dog legs down again south. So it comes down across and then down and hooks in. And then they continue on.
So it's kind of
Over
following
Henry
the
County.
other lines that say.
It's pretty much exactly following the lines there. Because that way, all they have to do is make their easement a little bit bigger instead of creating a brand new one from scratch. And they hope to get started on that late spring, early summer. And I think it's going to have maybe a 12-month work window.
So in this section one, that we know now, page 4. If I'm reading this right, it's one of the questions I had, and I know that you've probably already been brought into this and know what to expect, but any, I don't know exactly how to ask this, Wayne. But the part where it says physical damage to property arising out of developers' use of county roads. So for 2 years, if we have any lingering effects or ongoing problems or things of that nature, that besides the initial use and recovering the road, if you determine that there's problems that they're responsible for.
Yes. And most of the routes they're planning on being on will be gravel roads, so most of the damage should be pretty apparent, readily apparent while they're working on it. We steered them away from 185th just because of the poor quality or, you know, the poor condition of that pavement. So they're actually just going to go across country from pretty much from Brookville Road east towards Highway 1 and not use county roads. So you know, they're, in my opinion, they're doing their best to be fair and equitable and also not trying to run up their maintenance bill. Right. If they break it, they own it. It's kind of how that it works. I guess after Elizabeth went through it, I don't know if I saw you guys, if we got the latest. I think they added a clause in there that they could not be held responsible for any of their hired truckers. As if their hired truckers get off track, shouldn't be ITC's responsibility. It would be the contractor themselves, the hired trucker themselves, that would be responsible for any violation of not being on their haul routes. But then it's also our right to basically tell them that they can't have that trucker can no longer haul on that project. And you've got the insurance claim you can charge against them plus fire him from the job. So I think it's fair.
Sounds like it. So we need a motion to approve.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
So moved.
I have a motion. We need a second. Sure.
Okay. I just wanted to read what you.
And I do appreciate the county engineer's office or county attorney's office spending the time to go through the contract to catch anything that I missed.
I'll say.
I saw that.
Oh,
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item on our agenda is discuss, consider awarding the 2026 contract rocks bid to Dow Stone.
Unfortunately, they were our only bidder. We did ask Canterra for a quote and just the existence of that quarry got us a little better rock rate for the segments in the southwest part of the county.
so what is that rate or rates are doing? It's probably a lot of rates.
Yeah, and I do not have that at the tip of my tongue, but it's more than I like to pay, but it's what we have to pay. Unfortunately. Went up a little bit from last year, but not drastically so. It's still,
It won't be the only thing that went up since last year.
yeah. $1 million worth of rock. And we're having 10,000 tons brought to the
That's all.
shop at North 8th Street. So we have a convenient location, central location, because once Libertyville Roads goes under construction, it's going to be quite inconvenient to get the Jefferson County quarry. So this way we'll have rock there where we can send it out to some of the satellite areas.
I make a motion to approve to award the contract rock bid to Outstone.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Discuss the next item. Discuss and consider Grass Tree Bridge options.
So I put this on the name, I was invited to go out and look. Not that I necessarily know what I'm looking at, so we just qualified it right up front.
Make a note of that, Abby.
Make a note of that. We put that in the minutes. So, as I look at it, it's hard for me to envision a low water crossing there. And the reason I say that is because it's such steep hills and so on and so forth on each side. I don't know how far back we'd have to go. So a couple of things, and again, I understand I'm a layman and I don't necessarily know all of the ins and outs from water flow and all that. But one of the things I wondered about was if we could do like we did on Iris and use flat cars.
It's just a hair too long for that.
Okay, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and ask the question. Yes, sir.
Can you explain what that means, what you're talking about?
Flat cars?
Yeah.
They're rail flat cars that you bring in as opposed to building a bridge deck. We did it on Iris off of
Okay.
Brookville, for example.
Yeah, it's for a shorter span bridge. It's a pretty inexpensive way to bridge across a gap.
Okay.
So what
It's
I was,
still, it's still $180,000.
yeah, where I was going with it though, or the question I was going to ask was on the south side. So you got the pilings and then there's this area there that I'm sure when the water's up and it floods, it goes under that area as opposed to. But what I'm wondering is if we could, I don't know what that area is there, 10, 15 feet. If we were to take that out and put a tank car in there, kind of like a pond overflow and build a road across that, that would shorten the length of that bridge. I think what we've got, I don't know if it's, what are they doing with it? I think we're showing 73 feet, is that right?
I think the bridge itself was 90.
Okay, because I'm just looking at, I think this is the one we were looking at, maybe not.
Yes. Yeah.
We have length on there 73 feet.
The new one was going to be 90. That was the issue on that. Because to save money on design, the DOT has set up standards for county bridges. Where you got like 50, 60, then it jumps up to 90,
Right.
something like that. So that's where that came in. But yeah,
So
we have not reached, the bridge has not reached the point where we need to close it.
right.
It's just not able to haul. I think it's a 6-ton posting on it
Yeah,
right now.
it is.
So you can't cross it with much more than a pickup and a trailer. But at some point, it's going to be like Palmer will have to close it. From the earthwork standpoint, if you notice, it's got quite a large berm buildup from where the actual ground elevation is. So, if we were going to make that a low water stream crossing, you would take that soil and simply spread it out and you lower the elevation of the road somewhat. Because what you don't want to do is cause a large backup on, I guess, the west side of the west side of the road and flood that land. So you want to, when you build a low water stream crossing, you want to assure that in a rain event, the same amount of water will still flow across, or close to the same amount of water as could when the bridge was there. Putting tank cars in there, you would be able to keep the road height and use that extra, use the material for backfilling around. So you wouldn't have as much earthwork involved. There's more rock and more expense for the tank cars. So we're still up in the air on what to do with that,
Do you think rail cars will hold it?
Rail cars will hold, but I don't think so I apologize. I was busy doing my safety meeting and getting that grant letter this morning. I didn't have a chance to review the hydraulics on it. But Generally, we try to limit it to 2 tank cars if we do a tank car crossing. Because when you start to get more than that, you end up with a lot of brush buildup on it, and then those things can in turn create a dam.
I met with you out there
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
fall or whatever, and I specifically recall hearing no rail cars will ever hold it. It has to be a bridge.
Yeah, I think that's,
Yeah, I think Eric's right about that. I don't think that's a good idea.
yeah.
And then, my question is, or concern about the concrete, the water crossing is my mailman can't cross the low water crossing. I know it's not coming out of county fund.
I talked to the post office and the mailman would have to have a longer route, but they would get paid for that.
You're right, and I know it's not coming out of the county budget, but in a roundabout way, we're all paying his way. So that bridge was built in 1950, so it's 75 years, it lasted 75 years, 70, gonna be 76 years. Estimated between $60 and $70 a week extra in his pocket for detouring. Pretty easy figuring, $65. I just, that times 52 weeks, take that times 75, there's 253,500. And that's if he gets no increase in wages or mileage for one man.
Another thing to consider too is the property on the southeast side, Randy Flagg, Bertie Flagg.
Yeah.
Their property is like already on a hill and they're butt right up against that bridge. And so they've got this huge driveway. Imagine them having to come down and then, it's already I see that already kind of iffy what they have there, but then imagine going down into this creek crossing, or you're going to encroach on that to where that northmost drive coming out is going to be an issue for them. And yeah, I personally don't like the idea at all. I think you should put a bridge there. I think if you do the low water crossing, it'll probably affect his property because, because you're going to have to level out, taper it down. And, that's probably where it's going to go. So there's going to be erosion that's going to happen on Eric's property probably.
It's gonna affect my property, it's gonna affect everybody's property there. I mean,
Yeah.
Royer got a new shed there, just up top of the hill to the east, there's Chris and Holly, Behart, they built a brand new house there.
Yeah.
What's the value of it when they have a low water crossing now that they want to sell it or whatever, and they have, go north? Did it hurt the value of that place?
Yeah. Yeah, there's like I call it Grass Creek Corner. There's like 4 people on that corner. All have to go across that bridge and they're all gonna have to reroute. And that, when I go out, we have a house in Fairfield, but when we got to Glendale, sometimes we go out that way that's by American. And it's got that lower crossing. And that thing, when I go, I don't usually like to go that way because I don't know if a creek is gonna have water across it. And if it does, then I've got this long, I gotta turn around, I don't have a place to turn around.
Yeah.
And you gotta back out, and then find get yourself out of there. And so, anytime it rains, it's gonna I can show you a picture of what this creek will do if you want to see it. I've got a picture from 2024 where that water is pretty high. And if you taper it down
gets a
in,
lot
it's
of
gonna be
water.
higher than
I'm not gonna
the
argue
vehicle.
against that.
It's gonna be higher than a vehicle, if somebody doesn't know that area, we would know it, we'd say, okay, don't go there, but somebody that doesn't know it might, drive into that thing and.
If you remember on Kale, we have meters. Or basically yardstick that shows the height of the water above
Yeah, I saw
as you
that.
get down there. So
5 feet for that one, but this is gonna be deeper than that.
How many vehicles a year go down that creek on Kill?
160 vehicles a day is the traffic count on it.
No, I meant when the water's high. How many
Oh, how many go down the
vehicles
creek?
end up down the creek?
I know of one, but
I've been out there on numerous occasions, met with Eric out there. He's invited me. I went out on my own and I don't think it's a good idea to put in a low water crossing on a gravel road. Because if it's on a dirt road, it's muddy and they're not gonna go down it more than likely. But on a gravel road, there's gonna be people that don't know the route. They're gonna see the sign. How many people pay attention to signs most of the time? They just go right on through. And my thought is, all it's gonna take is one drowning in the county and a lawyer, and we got problems. And I've been over to the Iris one where you put in the flat cars. That looks good there. And I stepped it off and it's about 90 feet.
it's 68 between the abutments.
Boy, I must have taken huge steps.
Well, you're a big guy. But yeah,
I have to go back and measure because I thought I stepped 27 steps. I tried to shorten them up, but
So is the issue the pilings that's in the water on the north side?
the issue is, actually the abutment pilings,
Yeah.
on both sides. As the water goes up and down, the area that's above the soil that gets wet and then gets dry and gets wet and gets dry, that's where the wood rots. And we've got the same thing on pretty much every bridge on our list that has wood pilings. They all have that where that wood starts to rot. And yeah, you get 50, 60 years out of them or better, but
So is there,
honestly, the deck on it isn't in terrible shape.
right,
Although we've gone through and replaced a bunch of the deck boards on that as well. It just worked. They wear out over
I
time.
mean, it is I-beam, so that is, I guess, I would think is a good thing, but is there a way that we can, and I'm not sure how we would define short term, but is there a way that we can enhance the structural integrity of those pilings until we can get more money set aside to do something? Is there, and I wasn't trying to be flippant when I was talking about taking out some of that road or taking out some of that bridge and putting that one tank car in there on the south side and building that road out further to shorten the length of that bridge. I don't know if that's even legal, number one.
It's,
Like I say, it's like a pond overflow.
yeah, well, right now, that's what you have going on. And as they've said, when you get a gully washer, that thing runs bank full and then some, so you pretty well spanning what it needs to be during a high water storm. Yeah, there's no inexpensive answer, and that's why I broached the object.
How long would
Subject of
you
a
guess
water
it
stream
would have?
crossing.
How long would you guess that bridge can last? I know it's
As it
crystal
is,
ball, but I mean,
as it is, it could be another 10 years. When they get to that point, when they give me the bridge reports, they'll have a suggested, anticipated life, and a bridge like that, they'll put it at 2 years. And they'll leave it at 2 years for a decade. Because it doesn't deteriorate quickly once it's reached that point. Or, then it could come back next year, and say, hey, you gotta close this. It really just depends on how developed the rot is on it.
That was not a farm market road.
No, sir. That's what they call a local area service road.
is there any grant money, any grants, any place on some road like that? Sitka?
Well, see, we're using what they call federal bridge money. So it's technically, that is a grant. We get a certain pool of money from the feds every year that adds to our account.
But not designated to any specific.
Not
project.
designated to any specific project. And unfortunately, because of the traffic count, it doesn't score high enough to get like we got on the Butthole Bridges or on Libertyville Road. You don't get the points that you need to get the big grants.
Is it possible to just Band-Aid it or leave it or whatever, if it's for the next 2 years or whatever he says?
Oh, we don't have to make a decision right now, and I don't think we're going to.
And keep getting grants and pool more money until we have it to do it right?
Well, that's the bad thing, is you're gonna spend best part of $1 million for how many vehicles a day? That's
Have you guys done any studies on how the water, how often it would be not crossable?
No, they have,
Because it seems like
There's
it's gonna be depending on, the years, if it rains a lot, it'll be not crossable.
yeah, there's the federal program that I use for getting the drainage areas and running through what they call the probabilities for, the different storm events. Gives the flow duration and then also the probability that it's going to have, what they call a 100-year flood, which is a 1% probability. It's not that it's going to happen once every 100 years. It's there's a 1% chance every year that you're going to have this flood. And I try and design it so that we have the 50-year flood. So there's a 2% chance that the bridge would be uncrossable, or the low water crossing would be uncrossable. Or when I'm doing tank cars, the tank car feature would be uncrossable once a year, a 2% chance. And that's the volume that I try and design it for. So even most of our tank cars have the chance that they could be overtopped.
I've lived there 6 years and the water's been over the roof twice in 6 years that I've lived there.
It's true.
That's in the.
I mean, I don't know what to consider a normal range anymore, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's the week before I started down here, we get a 9-inch rain. And we lost, I think, 4 tank car crossings got washed out. So we get those rain events. So we can't, at the best case, we can't guarantee you that you're not gonna have a flood situation. We just try and minimize it as best we can. That's with the low water crossing. So right now, when you get a flood event, it backs up and it runs around the road on your side, I think, because that's the lower side of the.
Yeah.
Lower side of it. So this would be moving that to at the stream itself. And if we did it with a tank car or 2 tank cars, I think you'd still end up with it.
no, I'm not a believer of tank car because they're gonna be washed out. I mean, 4 of them that right there, I mean, and then I'm gonna be without a road.
Yeah.
How long is it gonna take to put those in? 6 months, whatever?
Yeah, they learned that they need to put sheet pile head walls on them. We haven't had an issue with it since, but because they started putting sheet pile head. They, on just a straight concrete low water crossing would be submerged in the period of flood.
Well, I agree with Eric that we should kick the can on this so we can come up with the money. I don't think we should do a low water crossing or that tank idea either.
So
Do a real bridge.
Dwayne, I don't know when this was actually made, but we've dropped from.
Yeah, that was from last year.
Okay, so we've dropped 4 tons since this was.
Or that was 2 years ago.
Okay, because this was 10 ton when this was
Yeah, it
prepared
was
and it's 6 now.
2024. Yeah.
Okay. What, is there something that we can do, and I don't know what it would be, I don't know whether it's putting ties between the wooden pilings or pouring concrete around them, or I don't even know if you can do such a thing. I don't know, but something that we can do that would, like I said, enhance the structural integrity of that bridge and put some of that tonnage back until we can do something. Because frankly, like you said, taking Dave's Mini Cooper across the bridge is about all we can do. It's 6 ton. Two, okay,
Depends who's in the passenger seat.
right.
But, that's, yeah, I'm open for suggestions and we'll keep, looking to see if there's something else we can do that is more budget friendly, I guess, for want of a better word.
I mean, if we got it back, and I don't know if this, but if we got it back to 10 ton for, when I say an extended period of time, you know, and I don't know that our finances will look any better 5 years down the road, for example, but, because it really doesn't do us a lot of good at 6 tons either. I know he has the inconvenience of having to take his corn head off and pull it across because it's not wide enough for that. But he's willing to live with that. But the question is, I talked to Josh, I talked to Brett. You know, it's concerning, and I know they're not necessarily thinking about it, but I'm not sure our emergency vehicles could get through there. Our water truck, fire truck, now our big ladder truck with the big, they wouldn't take that out in the country. Well, rare exception, Brett said, normally that would not be the issue, but the heaviest would be their water truck, which the tank is about 13,000 pounds when it's full, and then the truck would enhance that, so I'm guessing somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 to 18,000 pounds.
It's 10-ton load.
Yeah, and what'd you tell me, Josh? We're probably
16,000.
yeah, on our rigs. So that's one of the reasons I was asking if there was some miracle cure that could bring them back. At least, you know, I don't know. You're the engineer, but
That's the bad thing about the timber bridges is they're just not a whole lot, you know. If you've got a few bad piling, and we've done this on other bridges in the county, you can splice I-beams on either side of them and kind of make a crutch or a brace to hold them up. But they tell me, this is not my area of expertise. You guys know I'm a pavement guy. I'm trying to learn more about bridges every day. But you can only do that to half the piling, I guess. I'm not sure why, but that's what the people that do this for a living tell me. I have to trust the experts, and I don't know if that gains us a whole lot, but yeah, we'll keep looking into it.
okay.
You know, Dwayne, I have seen a photo on 227th of a big Ford crew cab in the water, tried crossing on 227th and ended up 100 feet down the stream. We can't have that happening. I think we need to be think a little bit more about this. Unless they're driving down here, it's okay.
We can set up a detour for Joe and Lee.
Okay.
Well, I don't have a big 3/4 ton truck. So
But I think it's something that we need to keep thinking about.
Mhm.
Okay. Because these gentlemen have a point. Yeah.
So at this point, I don't want to say shelve, but
We should have
we look at
an
other options other than.
Continue to explore our.
ongoing discussion.
Yep. I guarantee I will let you all know before we decide or what we come up with before we before we just show up bulldozers and start moving stuff out of the way.
Yeah. Is that something that Eric and I just watch this meeting for the agenda, or
Yeah,
you guys gonna let us know, or?
See, I think I've got a few phone numbers. So.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate the conversation, and so we won't do anything with the low water crossing till next Tuesday. We'll start. No. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Next item on the agenda, discuss and consider a load embargo on 227th.
We talked about this last week.
And I think we tabled to move because you were going to provide us more information.
Well, right now I don't have any more
Okay,
information.
so-
Well, okay. so then
They told me they could start as early as the middle of April, or it might be
Mhm.
later in June.
That's what.
Because the first stage of the Libertyville Road project will be the subdrain. And that's one of the few operations on this project that Manats has a, or Norris has a subcontractor.
Thank you, guys.
For that, so until we find out when they can mobilize and get here, I really don't have anything to tell you about it.
If I could comment, I think also that we thought that we would need have it on the agenda to impose the embargo when we need an embargo imposed. I think it was
Yeah,
put on as a cautionary thing, so the board can address it, pass it by and wait until the next time.
Yeah, I think we just, I don't know if we just kick the can down the road or not.
you guys want to have it on every week? That way we're covered.
Yeah.
That way, if they call up Friday and say, hey, we want to start next week, we'll have it on the agenda.
I think
so
that's the
you guys
safe
can
thing to
that.
do.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is, okay. Dave,
don't sit here all morning, do you?
I'm sorry?
You don't want to sit here all morning, do you?
Hello?
That's pretty comfortable.
all right, we're gonna drop down to it. I have no idea why this is after the committee reports and stuff. Meet with the courthouse maintenance supervisor. That's you.
Okay. What, as far as what we're doing? Or,
How are you feeling? Let's start there.
oh, problem seems to persist. So going back to the doctor this morning and see if I can extend the physical therapy and see what happens. But I'm gonna take that as far as I possibly can, and at that point in time, I'll have to make some kind of decision. I'm not sure what the hell that'll be at this point in time. So, are we gonna talk about, Mr. Calhoun or not?
It's on at the bottom of the agenda.
Okay. All right. Well, it's got nothing to do with me, so you guys can talk about it. Joe told me this morning that he's got a force for a man left that isn't gonna cost us anything. But the individual wants some press out of it. So it'd be a nice little photo op. If that would suffice.
Probably so.
Okay.
Dave, if I drop down one more, it says discuss, consider courthouse improvements or maintenance. I would assume you might know something about that, or do you?
What, as far as what we're doing at the moment?
Well, I don't know what's on the agenda. So.
Okay, well, we're currently getting both those walls made. They should be done by the end of the week or before. I've got, plumber coming out this morning. He's gonna sniff both of the bathrooms. We're still trying to figure out where the methane may be coming from. When we put the north wall in both of the old bathrooms, that outside wall, it was rotten. And there was mold on the backside of the drywall that was in there.
I remember you telling us.
So at that point in time, I had met with Mike Nolan, and Mike Nolan said that we removed the mold by removing the drywall, but we didn't do anything to do anything back there. And because we didn't want moisture building up in those walls anymore, I had them put some vents in. So each of the bathrooms has got 3 vents. So Rod's gonna come out this morning. We're gonna sniff them for methane and see if we're getting anything coming out of there. If we are, we're gonna try and figure out some way to divert it outside if we can. Still don't want to seal the vents off, because of that retro dry system that we put in. That should be drying everything out, those areas included.
That was my question, was gonna be that since we went to that expense, wouldn't that in theory dry that ball out?
It would, and depending on what he finds, I may decide to just, to do a couple of events in each one. And the remaining one would be underneath where, in that window pocket, on the lower part, below where the fans are. And that's where we could try and pick that up and maybe it could be vented directly into the exhaust above it. But we're trying to get rid of the methane.
Sure.
But we only have one person in the building that seems to be having a problem with it, or, they're ultra sensitive to the smell. The claim is that, there's, what is it, hydrogen sulfide gas is what she's claiming is getting into the bathroom. Well, there's no sulfur there, so we can't get the sulfide gas. And Palmer tells me that there's no such thing as a hydrogen sulfide gas in that particular scenario. But, you know, you have one problem that thinks it's a problem, and they're going to turn it into everybody's problem. That's why we're staying after this, trying to make it go away.
No, I
Please.
can appreciate that.
Yeah. We did the fire alarm test this morning. That went off without a hitch. So we're all done with that.
Is our boiler legal?
The boiler's legal. I called the inspector. I invited him to come back out, told him that everything that I want an inspection, you know. He's run me through the mill. I'm gonna run him through it. And, he doesn't seem to be in a big hurry to come out. So I'll keep after him until I drive him nuts and he comes out here to get me off his back.
Well, as I say, he's got to sign off on it, right? We've got to
He
have.
has to sign off on it because we need a certificate that we have to post down there.
Yeah,
So he doesn't have any choice. But the boiler's operating the way it should. I always come in every Saturday morning. I have since I started working here to make sure that the boiler's up and running, drain the condensate, inspect the boiler, to make sure that there aren't any problems. So, that's about all I got. I'm trying to get some work done outside right now. It's stuff that I would have to do if and when I come back online. So, I'm going to get it done. I am going to talk to Bass Landscaping. In the past, we've used grasshoppers to spray everything around here. They didn't show up last year, and by the time they would have been out here, it would have been too late. We were already into the season, so I'm gonna talk to Bass. I want to talk to him about a few other things too. I'm gonna have him give me a quote to spray the grass, do weed control and that kind of stuff. And we'll just go ahead with that. It seems like it's in the same ballpark as what grasshoppers was charging. But ever since the kid took over from his dad with grasshoppers, it's been kind of a mess.
that'd be pretty small sprayers, no bigger than a grasshopper is. Think about
I'm really trying not to say anything, okay? Trying very hard.
it. Okay.
That's about all I know at the moment.
So on this, clock repair, you'll get to work on that, and get somebody so it can be done before farming season, correct?
I'm going to, either today or tomorrow, I'll call the guy at the clock house over in Tumwa, because I want him to be able to commit to helping take it apart on the outside.
Yes, yes.
I mean, you're gonna put a 125 footer here. I can run that. That's no problem at all. No big deal. I've done it lots of times.
With a remote control standing back?
Oh, no, in the bucket. In the bucket. The only thing that I would ask the contractor who supplies it, that they put an additional safety harness in there, because I've got my own safety harness, but we need one for the clock guy.
But they also have liability insurance.
Yeah, but I also want to make sure that the clock guy is online, and at the same time, I also have to set it up with somebody to manufacture the gear. So what I was going to do is the gear that we're having difficulty with, I'm going to have 2 of them made. And then the other, there's 8 additional gears up there. Each clock face has 2 gears on them. And I'm going to get a couple spares made of that. So
Good idea.
if we have an incident in the past, at least we've got everything. When the one gear comes off the clock face, and the only way to get it out is to take it off the clock face. But if we've got a spare on the darn thing, then we can disassemble and reassemble in the same day, which is something we can't do right now. So I have to get the clock guy out here. I have to confirm with somebody that they're going to commit to getting the gear turned over as quickly as possible. And then that'll build a timeline for me, and then we can start working on the rest of it.
Sounds good.
I don't know what the big deal is. It's right twice a day.
I am going to ask him though, to,
I thought of another job for you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
right now, the way the clock is set up, there's a small motor in there. And at one time when Dick was here, there was two of them. He had both of them rebuilt. And we replaced, we put one of the rebuilds in to replace the one that was rebuilt shortly after I got here. So that was probably about 6 years ago. So the other one's probably not too far from needing to be rebuilt as well. From what I understand, rebuilding these is not an option. John Connick and I were talking about putting a different motor in there and relocating it to make everything run. So we're going to go ahead and fix this, but there's a chance that when that motor goes down, we'll lose the clock again until this other problem is fixed. So I'm going to talk with the clock guy and see if we can't come up with a new solution to the problem up there. One that includes both the mechanical end of it and also the electrical end of it, which is what makes the bell work. And if we come up with a plan for that, maybe we can put something together up there that's going to last.
Okay.
And that's going to be less problematic in the future.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are we now wanting to discuss and consider the janitorial services?
And
Since we're on the subject, yes.
boss. Good boss.
So I believe the young man filling in is a contract employee, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, that's a
And
vendor.
I believe he has a young lady or someone his age helping him mop the steps. Does our insurance cover that under his contract? You know, we need to think about the liability of what if, you know? I just
I don't
wonder-
I
know.
think you talked to Joe Pence
I could have. It's probably a while
when he was
back.
here last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should talk to Joe Vance again. I want to know if we're covered if something happens. Just good business.
Yeah. No, I can do that. I can send it. I'll ask.
As far as a written, I'm gonna give you my opinion. As far as a raise for the custodial person, if we would have to renegotiate contract because he's contract employee. My personal opinion is everybody in the county got a 5% raise. And giving him a 5% raise would give him 75% raise. Just
Say that again. I didn't, I said to give him 5%.
5% like everybody else, which would make it $15.75 an hour.
Oh, I see what you're.
Not the $17, $15 to $20 that's been mentioned, you know. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
I guess where I'm at
Mhm.
is he's a vendor. And as such, when we hire a vendor for something,
Mhm.
we know ahead of time what that vendor's rate is.
Uh-huh.
Now, we don't necessarily know how many hours, and I'm going to use our computer people, for example, when we bring them in.
Mhm.
We know what their rate per hour is. We don't necessarily know how many hours they're going to be on this particular
Mhm.
issue
Mhm.
or what we're going to have to replace.
Mhm.
So the vendor submits an invoice for his or her services. And from my perspective, we brought the vendor in at this rate, we know that this is what the rate is.
Yeah.
If the vendor wants to change the rate, then I guess
We
we would
renegotiate
have
the
to look at
contract.
other vendors, or at least,
Yeah. You know, that's a good, that, you brought up something interesting. Maybe we should advertise for, so other people might be able to apply, including the one doing it now.
I mean, I will give, at a moment's notice, that vendor is available. Whenever Dave has to leave or goes on vacation or whatever,
Mhm.
it's, and he's, and they're familiar with the landscape, if you will,
Sure.
and how things have to be done. So,
Mhm.
I guess at this point, I don't see the Board of Supervisors. We haven't been approached by the vendor per se, and
Dave has brought this up.
well,
the vendor.
I know, but I guess to me, the vendor's not an employee, the vendor is
Correct,
a
that's
business
correct,
person.
that's correct.
And so the business person decides what they want to charge for a particular service.
Mhm.
And then we decide whether or not we want to pay that charge.
I have a question, Lee, how long have we had that contract with that?
I don't know that we've ever had a contract. Not a physical not a written contract.
That might be a good thing to do.
In fact, I think we get handwritten invoices,
Mhm.
which there's nothing wrong with handwritten invoices, don't misunderstand.
Oh,
But I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
it's a pretty relaxed partnership arrangement. I just think it needs to be treated as a vendor. And that the vendor makes the determination of what they're going to charge for their service. And then we make a determination if we're going to want to pay that charge.
So,
That's my thought.
how would you handle the person that's mopping the steps that's helping him? I mean, how would we do that? Do you have any suggestions, sir?
They, usually you have insurance for incidental labor as part of your insurance contract. If you want to check with your insurance
I'll do
agent.
that this morning
Yeah,
when we get
okay.
that.
Yeah.
So I think we probably couldn't have any more discussion about this until you figure that out.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. So we get done here, after I make a trip,
Yeah, I know,
Somewhere
I
else.
know.
then I'll reach out to you.
And then maybe you'd know before next week so we can discuss it again. You can put that on agenda for next Monday,
Sure will.
along with a note to yourself promptly to do it.
And it
She's
just,
got more prompt notice than we even see.
I have been approached by him wanting, he's not demanding more money, but at the rate he's working at, it's peanuts. I mean, I think he deserves a little more money myself. And, he's been bringing in somebody to help him, and I guess he's paying it out of his own pocket for this other person to help out. And, you can't go work anywhere else for that. I mean, can't find another job that cheap, and I think he needs a little more money.
you have another question over a person that works as an independent contractor versus someone that is an employee that then entitles them to all the rights under state government for IPERS and everything else. So it's good to formalize those relationships if you can.
I just think this merits more discussion.
Well, I'll reach out this morning to Joe on the insurance.
Thank you.
Not that Joe, but the other Joe.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about it.
So, and see what I can find out.
Mhm.
And then that's a prompt you can take off your. Okay,
You know, I liken this to Joe or I both, or you, hiring somebody to do something for us. We establish a wage and they bring along somebody else to work. I mean, there's a lot of questions that come up from me, you know.
well, do you remember by chance, when we had that group come in? Was I here or was I not? But Darren hired that group that used to clean the DOT. Did we have a contract then? Maybe we'll go back and look and see what that looks like.
Mhm.
I just
Yeah,
know
when you
that-
said that, I started thinking about the times when I would place a youth here, but that was through a different program.
Right.
Where the insurance and all that was covered. Is that you?
No, no.
Chris wants to say something.
I was just gonna share, we use a private company at the health department and they come in once a week and clean when we're not there. They have to get in. We have a copy of their insurance and they send either 2 or 3 people to clean and then it's reflected on that on our invoice. So what they do as a business has nothing to do with what I just pay, right? So I don't get into the mechanics of their business and who they hire and who they send. So, and it works out really well for us to have them come once a week. Yeah, that's, yeah.
The key between an independent contractor and an employee is the independent contractor is responsible for completing the job and there's no control over the hours, the way they do it or direct direction versus an employee who you control and have supervision over. So, and you can have an oral contract and it's still enforceable. There's most of the stuff in the world gets done orally.
Till it goes sideways.
Well, there's always that 1%.
Do a lot of stuff.
So I will reach out to Joe Benz and we'll go from there, right? Is that what you want?
Yeah, that'd be great. You volunteered. Thank you very much.
Yep. You guys done with your,
Pardon me?
Are you done with that?
Until you leave. Of course we are.
I think we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is to discuss medical director's insurance. No, also meet with the ambulance director. That's you.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm here. It's Monday.
Anything new and interesting and stuff you want to hear?
No,
Okay.
not really. I left my house at home or the office. Okay, anyway. Well, regarding the medical director's insurance, the application did get sent. So now we're just waiting. I'm waiting to hear back from Joe. I'll probably get a hold of him today or tomorrow. See if there's been any movement on that. So hopefully baby steps moving forward. We can get that finalized here in the near future and then get him on board.
so when you reach out to me, want to ask him about whether or not,
No,
okay.
no. So anyway, yeah, we are still moving forward with that process. Like I said, it's taken a lot longer than I really anticipated it would. And I hate just kicking the can down the road or not being in control of those things. So I feel like well, yeah, I just don't like not being able to move forward quickly. So
Once we get to that point, then we'll have some type of physical contract.
yes, yep. Yeah, and I that's the biggest piece we're waiting on is just the liability piece. And once that's done, and I've talked to Dr. Lissy, he's still on board with everything. He still wants to keep moving forward with it. So or this has just been the really the only hang up. So
And you'll have to understand that we kind of are running up against a deadline.
yes, yeah. And I pointed that out to both Dr. Lissy and Joe to like, hey, we need to move this forward. So
Sure.
like I said, it's taken longer than I anticipated it ever would. So
Mhm.
we're moving forward though. Kind of the same thing with the training program. The coordinator has been a lot more attentive, I think. I sent her quite a lengthy email. And we had a pretty good conversation, and now she's been in touch with me a couple times, and she has assured us that we are next on her docket. She's dealing with another training program right now that's going through the accreditation or re-accreditation process, which I understand is quite lengthy, but she reached out to me just again last week and reminded me that we're next on her to-do list. So hopefully we see some progress there as well. And again, just waiting on one hurdle And then everything will move forward pretty quickly after that, as far as the rest of the process. At least in my mind, it will, probably won't, but little things, just baby steps.
Anything else you want to tell us?
I don't know. We spent a fair amount of money on rig maintenance over the last couple of weeks. Again, the huge purchase or repair up in Des Moines with the RV place for the liquid spring suspension on 52, but we had a front end issue with 51 and then an electrical issue with 53. So just, I mean, they've been
Isn't 53 the new ambulance?
uh-huh. Yeah.
Was the electrical issue the box or the truck?
It was actually just fuses.
Okay.
Yeah, so it again,
You should say that first thing.
relatively
We start
easy
thinking,
fix,
oh
but
my God.
it's been kind of a back and forth. Like the heat and the air were intermittent in the back, and then we push a button and it worked again, and then that stopped doing what it's supposed to do. And anyway, so for now we're good to go. Oliver?
The hamster.
Yeah, just keep them going.
Yeah.
Yep.
For a little person, if you can find one.
Can you say that?
Huh?
Yeah, I guess that's probably.
I didn't say who.
Oh, that's fair.
I didn't mention any names.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
You inferred.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise things are, we're just chugging along. So
Next, anything else? Nothing else?
I don't think so.
Okay, great. Discuss and consider hiring Michaela Schmidt as an EMT PRN, Jefferson County Ambulance Service.
Yeah, so she interviewed a couple weeks ago, and then she was going to be gone, like unavailable for a little while. So just kind of pushed it off. But relatively new EMT. I think she works in Davis County right now. So it's just, part-time filling in where she's available. So yeah, I think she's a good candidate, but she's got some things to learn. So
We all do.
yeah. Yeah.
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yes,
That is interesting.
Oh, that's a
Scratch.
good story.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the chair with my cat on my lap,
Oh,
and my little 7-year-old niece comes running in. We're having a baby. The cat jumps. And this is what happened.
oh,
The cat was having a baby?
The horse in the barn.
Oh, okay.
The cat was on my lap, sleeping,
I guess you.
and a 7-year-old
and
screamed.
it wasn't.
It's very difficult to mistake a horse for a cat.
That's, yeah,
You know, that's interesting. I've sat here all morning, and you're the only one that noticed.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Oh, wait, Chris said she knows.
I just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
This-
I'm just nosy. I'll be like,
No, but that's an ambulance guy.
But
That's
yes.
a medical.
Good job,
You know?
Dory.
Next
Yeah.
question, did you need an ambulance?
I would certainly hope not, but
And now they sit there talking, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm bleeding. Long story.
Pretty busy.
Long story.
next week.
yeah.
Next item is to discuss, consider compensation of Jefferson County Board of Health, possible expansion of Board of Health from the current 5-seat compensation. I want to talk about this a minute.
Say that in time real fast.
Can you read my
Thanks,
mind?
Josh.
So this is 10 days ago, last week it appeared on our agenda to put somebody on Board of Health. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't think we have any openings, so we must want to expand the Board of Health, which, we don't have problems with. So I went through the odd number versus even number thing. And now today I see not only do you still want to put that person on, but you want to get rid of a person. When did that all come about?
Well, I don't think we need to expand the board if that's what we're talking about first. I mean, that's
Yeah.
right. My right to some composition, I mean, I think 5 seats is fine. That's just me.
Well, we have 5 seats now.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So explain where you want to get the open seat.
I'm dealing with the first and first, are we
Yeah.
gonna, the motion to leave it at 5 seats is what I'm.
I have contacted board members and they all have got back to me that they think 5 seats is adequate, you know.
I would agree with that. They contacted me as well.
Okay.
I just had to go through that process because 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? What's going on?
Susie, we can't talk outside of this meeting or you jump all over us.
Joe,
So we have to
you
come to
do
this
talk
meeting.
outside this meeting, so let's just let that go. We've got to deal with this right now, okay? Okay, let me see. Discuss, consider competition of blah, 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 from a 5-seat, and Lee says,
I don't see.
we're good enough right now.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. I second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next item is to discuss and consider removal of Board of Health member and sending a letter.
I'm responsible for that.
I know. I was
And
told,
no, we have not had a conversation about it.
I was told because Abby said, or Lee said last week that you put that on the agenda, so I already got
Yes,
that, Joe.
yes. We have a board member that has been out of he's no longer a resident of this county. And I've done a lot of digging and stuff, and because he is not in this county, he should no longer be on this board. We have the right to remove anybody we want without just cause. But the cause I am looking at is because he no longer lives in this county.
Have we ever had anybody that was on a committee, a county committee that did not live in this county or this state?
Not that I'm aware of.
yeah, I've always, I mean,
They've always
I
been
can't
here.
answer that question directly, Susie, but I'm not aware of anybody that wasn't a resident of the county. Not saying,
I think we had somebody on the Jackson Street that was living in Missouri at the time. It's a person that I really like, so I bad about bringing this up.
on the.
And I'm not mentioning any names
On the what?
on the Jackson Street Board Commission. The
Jackson Point,
Yeah.
that's not county. Oh,
Has it always been not county?
that's right, it's always been not county. According to the Articles of Incorporation, the responsibility of the board.
Which I have never seen. I've asked for it, and when I got them, they were just kind of all jumbled together. So that's no conflict there.
But in that regard, but I guess my question would be,
Yeah.
and I'm just asking in the form of a question, if at the time that the vacancy occurred, the individual that is currently serving, which I think
I
has
understand.
done a good job.
Yeah.
But if that individual had not been a resident of the county and or even a resident of the country, would we have considered that appointment, or would you have even brought that request forward?
Are you talking about the person you want to get
Yeah,
off?
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It was 3 people that voted on that. So
Right.
I don't, I can't really answer that
Well, but
question.
at that time, the
Yeah,
individual
which-
was a resident.
Which I've been contacted by several people from the Board of Health wondering why they were not sent the notice that you sent to Chris and Joe, myself, and you, and Jim Schwartz and
Chris
Dr. Miller.
and Dr. Miller, and I oversight on Gloria.
Yeah, and the
And
person you want to
Christine,
get rid of was on the board at that time. He should have been afforded that same opportunity, if you're gonna kick somebody off, do it to their face. I'm just.
That's what this letter's gonna do right here. I have
Anyway.
went through the code. I contacted the county attorney's office. I heard nothing back. And I am doing it the way the code says.
Yeah, I haven't even read this.
Point of
Really
legal
helpful.
procedure, if I could raise one.
Sure, absolutely,
With
Ken.
the consent of the board. I was not aware of this until I saw it on the agenda. I have been handling the Board of Supervisors matters as best I could for the board. I have no position one way or the other on this, but I was not aware of it, and I apologize for you folk not getting notice of it. But we had some kind of a snafu that it did not come across my desk or. It's my fault.
That's probably my fault.
I got it, thank you.
Pardon me?
You should
Anyway,
have that before you hit the ground.
This issue has come up in law previously. In 2018, there was a case that, Helmick versus the Board of Supervisors of Louisa County, in which there was an Iowa District Court trial, and ended up going on appeal, and county, handled it on appeal. Louisa County did up to the state Supreme Court. They had it decided as a matter of law and transferred it down to the Court of Appeals. Court of Appeals has held that where you have a 3-year term, that there is not any restriction that keeps a person, that gives some right. They're basically an at-will employee, according to what the board does. But there is another section of Iowa law, and that being section 331, 321, I guess, which governs all entities. And it provides that you need to give due process rights to any person that is currently holding an office, in which you give them written notice of the reasons for cause, and I appreciate the notice.
You don't have to have a reason. You can remove them.
You can remove them. That's right. That's what I said. That's at will. Like an employee that doesn't have a contract, you can terminate them for any reason. And it'd be in that same gist that the board has the right to appoint or remove anyone for any cause. But in the removal process, there is a requirement under due process laws of the state of Iowa. Chapter 336 states that you have to give the notice. And I see that you have a written letter. I did not look at it. Was handed it just now. But I just wanted to advise the board of that. Generally, what is suggested that there be the written approval and notice of intention to do it. And then you file that with the county auditor. After that's done, you then notify the member and have the public hearing, set a public hearing. And
It's up to the one that is being dismissed to have a public hearing. It's up to that person's decision. It's not up to us about the public hearing.
well, the board can set a public hearing, but the person can
If he
waive it.
requests it.
I suppose that may be, I haven't. looked
I've
at
read
yet.
that overhead.
I
I'm sorry.
appreciate it. I'm going from other cases doing what the previous decisions of the court. Many times, if you read the Iowa code, it will have language that the courts have interpreted in other cases. There's a $23,000 set of books that are called the Iowa Code Annotated. And it has, to each section, there'll be a whole bunch of cases where they refine the law. And just because it says it in there, it isn't always what the legislature has said. The courts also speak to it. But that I just wanted to raise that question with you and that point.
Well, then, just real quickly, and I don't want to belabor the subject. But in that court case that you referenced, the Board of Supervisors did indeed remove the entire Board of Health, and 2 members of the Board of Health sued and they lost.
And they were there, it was a husband, wife.
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
the
it was the
individuals.
husband, the Helmicks were,
But that
husband,
being
wife.
said, I don't know that that's a circumstance here. I think the question is, that I'm not, how do I want to say
Hey,
this?
are you saying that at any time we can get rid of anybody on that board?
you can get rid of anyone that's on any board where there is not a specific requirement of for cause. There's no for cause requirement in that, and the Court of Appeals held that the legislature, that there is a right to terminate anyone that is on a board where there's not a for cause termination requirement.
Okay.
So then it's basically at will. And then just because it's a 3-year term on the appointment, you don't get to do that. But the key comes down to the basis. You're supposed to have a reason, even if it's, not for cause. You're supposed to cite a reason and give notice of that reason and opportunity for hearing in the notice. And usually it's filed with the auditors, what I have seen for the best recommendation of the way they recommend doing it as far as advice to lawyers.
Yeah, in my mind, I was sitting there thinking, what's the worst thing that could happen? Let's say right now, our composition is what it is. Let's see if the election, the composition changes. I would hate for this to turn into something people just do for retribution or be petty. You know, replacing people.
What are you talking about? He doesn't live in the country.
Joe, one more time. I would hate for this to be something that a new board could just get rid of people that they felt like getting rid of. That's, you know,
I don't think I'm doing anything wrong.
Chris, do you have an opinion? I know you've been talking about it.
Excuse me?
You have been talking about this.
Well, it's been discussed.
Yeah.
At the board meeting, at the
Yeah,
Board of Health
yeah,
meeting. I'm not a board member. I'm just a public health administrator.
And thank you for that.
I wrote a policy for the Board of Health, on behalf of the Board of Health, at Christie's request, my chair of the Board of Health's request, because she'd had a conversation with Chauncey. In my 18 years of being at the Public Health Department, we've never had a board member not live and reside within the county. It's not in code anywhere that you have, it just says legal residence, I think, or something like that. Well, you can have a legal residence and not be there. So I wrote a policy per Christie's directive. It was discussed at the Board of Health meeting, which was January 8th. They tabled it. And then it's going to be back on their agenda for their March, what is the date on that? The 12th meeting for discuss and consider again. The issue is it's never come before the board before. The people that have served on the Board of Health have always lived, resided, or worked within Jefferson County. Just for transparency, we have another individual that does not live in this county. That is our medical person. However, she works within the county. And it's reflective of that in the policy that I wrote. And Elizabeth reviewed it. And then I got a phone call from Chauncey about it. And so that's where it sits right now. It's as the public health director, I need a board that functions. It doesn't matter who's on my board. I just need a board that is an advocate for the health and wellness of the community. And that is appointed by you three. And during my 18 years, I've been through numerous supervisors and numerous Board of Health members. It's unfortunate that there's nothing outlined in the code. I mean, with all the stuff that's going on at the state level and it does reference district Board of Health or in the code. We're not to that point yet, but some counties do function a little different than ours do. So I did what I was told by my chair. It's going to be back on the agenda. I can get a copy for everybody to look at.
Let's wait till they approve it.
I mean, well, I don't know if they're going to approve it or not. I mean, I can't speak to that.
Well,
I just have it available.
You know, Chris, I would say.
But I'm not a board member, so I go between 8 people. I'm going to say this, I go between 8 bosses. And it gets a little challenging. And just because I'm appointed doesn't mean I should have to go to 8 bosses. You guys control the appointments, which by code is how it's supposed to be. You guys control the bottom line of my budget, which is how it's supposed to be because we don't levy. The Board of Health doesn't levy. But I'm stuck in the middle.
You're doing a good job.
And it sucks. I'm not gonna lie, because no matter what I do, somebody somewhere is questioning something that was done or said. So I appreciate the discussion. I just want a functioning board. And I think moving forward, however that looks, whether somebody is removed from the board today or not, it's one of those things that from this point forward, we have identified that this is an issue. So we need to fix it for the next appointment. Chris,
are you saying that maybe we should have a possible appointment, fill out a piece of paper so we have proof?
I have made the suggestion several times for the Board of Supervisors to consider this for a Board of Supervisors appointed commissions or boards to have an application process like you're applying for a job, and then it could go to the auditor's office. It could keep those resumes, so to speak, for a year if you have any appointments come, because you never know. Things happen. People choose to resign. People, unfortunately, die, and you have to have another appointment midterm for somebody. I mean, I don't know, but I just know that that's why it got brought up.
Mhm.
And I know we have Zoom, but we've never had this issue happen before, and it's not outlined in the code or the rules. So that's how I see it.
You know, Chris, one of my biggest issues, and I don't mean to interrupt you, I think it just did, and I'm sorry,
No, you're fine.
was the fact that nobody on the Board of Health knew about this. Christine,
I will argue that.
I can't speak to that.
I was told that.
Okay, I'm gonna say this again. It's not my responsibility to go between two boards. I'm the public health director.
Mhm.
If you have something you want to say to the Board of Health,
Mhm.
Joe is our appointed liaison to the Board of Health. So if I need something or need to talk about something, I go to Joe because he's the appointed Board of Supervisors
So,
liaison to the Board of
But
Health.
you're not on the Board of Health, you just.
I am just
But
their
you still
direct
go to
report.
Joe, I'm just curious. If
No, I go to Joe if I need something at the supervisor level.
Okay,
I mean, he's my appointed person to go
Sure.
to as a liaison from the Board of Supervisors.
sure.
Christie's my chair, Jim's my vice chair. I usually try to go through the right chain of command.
Mhm.
I very rarely send an email to all the Board of Health members because if I do, I send it individually because I don't want to get in trouble for an open meeting violation and have them
Mhm.
accidentally reply.
Mhm.
So I send it,
Mhm.
individually to the board members. So that's where I'm at. I am not a board member for anything, but I directly report to the Board of Health. They are my governing entity. They are my appointing entity or unappointing entity. And my board is appointed by the three of you or whoever's currently a supervisor.
Mhm.
So that's where I see it. You asked, so I
Thank you,
shared my
Chris.
opinion.
Thank you.
you.
And I want a point of clarification here. I did contact some of the board members and got responses back, so some of them are aware.
And a week ago, I was told, no.
No, they weren't. I've done a lot in the last week.
Good for you, Joe. I'm glad. Thanks for doing your job.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a comment here. This is Jerry Leonard here at the County Sanitarian's Office, the Environmental Health Office. Just to go a little bit further, what Chris has just spoken to, the fact that this was discussed in January's meeting. It kind of seemed like to me that died, lacked a motion to move forwards with it. Just as early as last week, I talked to Christy Nystrom about the agenda. She didn't say anything about this to me. She also was a little surprised about this removal of one, putting on another one. And then just to go a little bit further, I guess, again, I don't see anywhere in the last few months by having this board member to be involved in these board meetings through Zoom has it impeded anything that Chris has tried to do or that I've tried to do. So going forwards, again, it's not my responsibility to tell you guys what you should do, but it's seeming to me that there isn't an issue here. And the issue is if whether or not this board member lives or resides in the county. As far as I know, at this point in time, he still owns property in the county, so that would consider him a resident. When the individual left, he had told me that he was going to go visit his son and that he was going to be back to live in Jefferson County once the visit from his son was over with. So I just wanted to share that all with you to make sure that, we have, I guess, my information and my input of the thoughts of how we're going to go forwards with this thing. Thank you.
It is gonna be back on the agenda. It is on the agenda right now. I'm
For
working
your
on the
meeting on the
agenda.
12th?
It's back on the agenda. I was waiting until this meeting was over to see if there was anything else I needed to add or change for the agenda. I then send it to Christy and Jim to review, get back with me to see if there's anything else additional they want to add or change. And then I send it out the end of the week to the board members and to Joe, since he's our liaison. Now, oftentimes I'll send you guys the agenda, but I think the thing is, I just asked, and I had this conversation. I mean, this is not, since this has never come up before, it's a level of conversation that needs to be had. I guess the issue is, if I didn't reside, if this is just me personally, if I didn't reside in a county, then I wouldn't really have a or work in a county. I wouldn't have a vested interest in that county. So it makes sense to me that somebody would either live, I don't mean have a residence, I mean live and work within the county. Because when you're not in the county, you don't know everything that's going on in the county. or you're not connected to the people of which you are making their health and wellness a priority. That's all I'm gonna
Ed, do
say.
you have any more comments about this?
I think the letter, I've had a chance to read the letter that you prepared, and you're attempting to do something immediately in this letter, which I don't think is permitted under chapter 331. Because it says you were fired immediately, or you were, says,
Notice of
you're
dismissal.
being relieved of your service on the board effective immediately. I don't think you can do that. I want to do whatever the board wants to do. I'm a lawyer. You know, my job is to try and help the board do what is legal under the law. And again, my prior comments would still apply. I don't think you can take action today without getting notice.
We can send this letter today.
Well, my personal legal judgment is that you cannot fire someone, tell them they're fired immediately. I think I think you need to give notice. I think you need to set a hearing date. And then I think the board can take action at that. And you do give a reason in there. You say we can do it for no reason, but you say, you know, because of his residence. But that is something. I don't live in Jefferson County anymore. I lived here for 20 years. My children lived here, grew up here, went to school. I've been on the school board. I served for more than 10 years as your county attorney. And you folks appointed me. I live in Oskaloosa. I take the Fairfield Ledger. That's one of the key things to keep me advised. And I have relatives that live in Jefferson County or have ties to Jefferson County. And I keep up with the county, and I hope I'm doing a good job, even though I don't reside here in this county. But so I think this would also apply to me. It is a good reason to make, and there are rules in many places that all police officers have to live in the city that they're a police officer. County sheriff deputies have to live in there, but that's not required by the law.
You're not
Anyway.
comparing apples to apples, Ed, with all due respect,
Okay.
because you come to work here
Yes, sir.
physically. Okay, now I'm not arguing for or against at this point. I don't think, when I say you're not comparing apples to apples, okay, so you reside in Oskaloosa, but your physical presence is here every day when you come to work. Okay, in this particular instance, that's not the case. Now, yes, it's true. The individual under consideration does own property here in Jefferson County. However, that property is up for sale. Now, that doesn't mean that the individual can't purchase more property. I'm not saying one way or the other, because I don't know what the plan is. But the point is that in regards to the service that the individual has provided, which I think has been fine. I think the question is that since the individual is not currently residing in the country and is not physically present, to be sure, Zoom is available, and as far as I know, the individual has participated in every meeting, and not disputing that. But I don't think the comparison, I don't think the comparison is the same.
I appreciate that. I did want to make one comment on one of the legal terms of art. Residence implies the intent to return to the community.
But when
And
you're
a
selling
person-
your residence, then
You sell your domicile, your house,
Yeah.
but you can be a resident of a county or of a place without any house there. Our servicemen that go into the service under United States law, they sign up, get drafted, or sign up wherever they sign up from. They go into the service and are a resident of that place, and they remain a resident there, even if they're posted in Iraq or Iran or anywhere in the world, even if they have no property in the county,
And
they
they're not-
remain
and
a
they're not
resident.
Generally.
They remain a resident
and
of the
they're not
county with nothing else
appointed
there.
to the board to serve,
Lee, let him
because
finish
they're not
talking.
able. I've heard it all. And all I'm saying is that for some reason or another, we're trying to, the question comes down to, and maybe the answer at this point is to wait to see what happens at the Board of Health as far as the department goes. But what I'm arguing about is that we seem to be making a case as to the fact that we have an individual that is not living in the country currently. And to your point, if they were in the service, that would be true. But it's not likely if that was the case, or it's not likely if the individual was not residing in the country that the board would have appointed. That was not the intent of the board to appoint somebody who was going to leave the country.
Very good reasons, and I don't dispute any of that. And that a person isn't physically here is a great reason, and you have very good points. And I'm happy to do whatever the board decides to do, but it just hit me cold this morning for the first time. And thank you very much for your comments. And our county attorney's come here too. I don't know if he has any response further.
We need to take a 5-minute break. Lee has another appointment that lasts about 7 minutes.
No,
So why don't we take a break? If you need an escort, let us know.
Only 20 more days till spring.
I hope.
No, it's
That
on the
would be-
calendar.
It's
You
on the
can't
calendar,
change
sure.
that.
Idea.
Oh,
It
turn
is
the
so
fan
warm
off.
in here.
Yeah.
What is the temperature in this room? I see.
Well, I don't think we need a heat.
69.
Oh, we got it going on.
Yes, it's.
Can I get my desk?
Oh my God, Joe, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
Check this.
I guess it's not the battery's gonna hear it. It's fine. They went to their son, their house is for sale. When it sells, they're getting a condo. Yeah. Who knows if that really will happen, but sometimes you get to go with the.
Sure, I understand. And Joe. Except for that last. Before the thank you, except for that last sentence.
You're next this week.
I'm here in case of
So if we
questions on the
just
budget
last
for
sentence.
environmental
But
health.
the last sentence.
I see that,
I don't think it's not objection.
The sheriff's office
Then you
goes to
want
the
to set
auditor.
it for a hearing.
Levy thing.
It's not up to us.
And Chris said she did too.
I think it should.
Here's what I copied
Yeah, I
out.
think
Thank you.
It's
they're getting
almost,
it on there.
yeah, it's almost too bad that they can't bolster it if the public is looking on there.
AI,
But it come off
Yeah.
of the legislative website.
understand, everyone's using AI now. And the AI here with
No,
Somewhere it says it's.
I mean, that's the one that he
Yes.
gave me,
I
copy of written order
that he
must be
had
sent
last
to
brought
the
in, but
must be filed with the Office of County Auditor rule then.
no, I just.
And then under
Days
um,
with mailings. During those,
whatever.
whatever.
missing like the numbers that he wants.
I don't
That's
believe
here,
you can do
That's
that.
a lot of
Set the hearing
Did you eat
and
something
remove
fun
that
down there?
hearing.
but- So there's a
It
coffee
says-
board
it
about
says
it, yeah.
refund expense.
Okay.
Because
you can
we're
look at
cool.
it, but I would not do
Yeah.
it that way. If I was gonna remove the first, I'd set the hearing and say, the wording begins on blank blank date to remove you as a member because we desire to have someone with closer context to the community. Something like
So we
that.
should set a public hearing.
Yeah, I would do that
All right,
and
I'll
waive
take
I
it.
haven't had a call.
That date, yeah. That's just the way I would do it if I was on the board and wanted to take action. And I want to do whatever
We just have. to
the
do
board decides it
what we
wants
don't
to
get, we
do.
won't get in front of it.
That you want to do it that way, we do an open meeting. And then say you violated the Open Meetings Act,
No.
it saves you from possible.
Thank you.
What do you mean by the open meeting?
Oh,
Well,
We're in a public meeting now. It's fine.
we're in a public meeting, so where the notice is sent. This was prepared before the
Vision of the
meeting.
entire
By
audience,
me.
right?
Okay.
All of us.
Susie didn't know about it and we didn't know about it. Abby's the only one that
Okay.
knew about it. Put it in our folder.
Oh,
It
shit.
gives,
Oh, that's a
it gives the
different place.
impression that it's being read by the county board of supervisors. That's okay.
Okay,
We don't want
What's
to,
that
it's
called?
not signed though.
No, and you're okay. So you're okay.
Okay.
If you wanted to bring it to the board, that's probably.
That's,
probably
and I
do it.
thought, according to that, I had to have a letter. to self-prepared.
No.
No, I think these can be done by one of your council.
I'm paying her, no, I'm paying her to put up with
We
it.
want to cover that.
Madam Chairperson,
Yes,
I'd just like to make one more comment.
hang on, we've been on break. Let me call us out of break.
Sure.
We're out of break. Go for it. Who's that?
Yes,
You want to
ma'am.
have the person identify who's speaking.
Who's speaking, please?
Yeah, this is Jerry Leonard again, the environmental specialist of the county. I'd just like to make one more comment about this particular individual on the board. He has been very good about being engaged in the environmental health issues that I took over from the former person's company that was doing this job. To say the least, I do think that he has a lot of concern about our public citizens and their health, and also the residents of our county. Being that he's not physically every day at that meeting, I don't think has wavered any of his thoughts on trying to be helpful with our environmental issues in our county. Thank you.
So,
Thanks, Jerry. Lee. You all good to go?
yeah, for another 2 or 3 minutes. So I guess where I'm at on this is that, it makes sense to me that because if the Board of Health adopts a policy,
Just to clarify, I don't know.
I know, I'm saying-
It's on the agenda, yeah.
yeah, I'm saying.
Sorry.
if the Board of
In
Health-
other words, depending on the result of the Board of Health
that we
meeting.
would
Correct.
revisit the issue. Now, I'm not saying we don't revisit the issue. I'm just saying that
We're gonna give a little time.
if the Board of Health adopts a policy, it does somewhat change the dynamic. However, with all due respect to all involved, I still have concerns about having people on a board that aren't not residents of the county or in particular the country. Now, that being said, the individual has the right to go visit his family wherever they happen to be and if they're coming back. So I guess, and I understand that. And I don't find a problem with that, nor should I. But by the same token, if they put a residence up for sale, it's reasonable to infer that they're not coming back. So that's the $64 question.
And they've been gone for 7 months now that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
September is when the Zoom started with this individual.
But, and I can appreciate that at the meetings that I've attended at the Board of Health, he has participated via Zoom.
Mhm.
So I'm not suggesting anything other than that. But I do think at this point, if the Board of Health adopts a policy, and I don't know whether they will or they won't, it could look at this somewhat differently. So what did you say, Chris?
I'm sorry,
12th.
it's the 12th,
12th of,
second Thursday.
12th of March, so 1 and a 2.
So you put it on the agenda, so.
Yes, and by the same token, they don't dictate. We dictate to them. They don't dictate to us. And I just have had a conversation with our assistant county attorney back here, and we come to the conclusion that we should set a public hearing and discuss this in the public hearing and give that individual an opportunity to speak before we dismiss. I know
In a
I haven't
public
heard
hearing.
anything.
In a public hearing.
Well, I don't care. You guys do what you want.
You know,
This was advised by
but-
county attorney.
and I heard him talking to Joe. I just think that the danger of, I know all the parties involved, the danger of doing something like this, this is an autonomous board. If we start, for whatever reason, taking over and not letting them hear things, we may as well not have a board.
He's up there. He's heard everything.
I-
So
but this is, us. He is choosing not to say anything, just to listen.
Okay, so if,
I just think we need to be careful.
no, and I'm fine. So what I'm hearing is, and it's okay, I'm just trying to get handle on everything. So what I'm hearing from Joe is the assistant county attorney says, let's have a public hearing, okay? What I'm hearing from Chris is that the Board of Health has it on their agenda on
The 12th.
the 12th. So it would behoove us to wait till the 16th or whatever.
I think, is that a motion?
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously the Board of Health meeting isn't until after next Monday's board meeting.
Yeah.
So then I don't
We
know
have
how
to
you,
wait 2 weeks for
Yeah.
public.
It just means we have to wait.
yeah, okay.
So-
Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, so the soonest you could do it would be this, basically when we're all together would be the 16th
No, because you're not setting the public hearing right now. You would be setting it
on the
next
9th.
week and then you could have it on the 23rd.
Okay, and you'll make sure we do that?
And then we would have
Yes.
information. Okay. So is that, I'm
happy with, I'll second that if that's the motion.
oh, wait a minute,
I
what
don't
did I
think
say? Huh? Oh,
Time
I
and
don't-
date for public hearing. Set time and date.
well,
You
that'd
don't have it
be,
on your
so
agenda.
that'll be next
Can't do
week,
that till
Yes,
next week.
yes, on our agenda.
put on the agenda. So this will be tabled.
Until,
And
The
and then
16th, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we'll revisit it on the 23rd, right? Of March.
Yes,
That's as soon as you could have a public hearing.
you're putting it on the agenda as set date and time next week
Right.
okay,
so that you,
so on the 16th, we do that.
no, the night.
On the 9th.
Sorry, I lost a week.
Yeah, and then the Board of Health meets on the 12th. The soonest we can have the public hearing would be on the 23rd.
Okay, of March.
Yeah, so we'll table it. We'll discuss and consider public here setting date. You already got that, okay?
Let Abby figure the agenda out.
Okay, yeah. Can we read that back to me?
No.
No, okay. So we
She'll get it
table it,
right.
right? We
She'll get
table
it
it,
right.
No,
I just want us to be all on the same page and do it the right way.
So,
And I think we're gonna do that.
okay. Got it, right?
And part of legal procedure, I'll try to send a memo to all 3 of the board members in this meeting, so.
So did we miss something? Were we supposed to do something with this? That Dwayne brought?
I think that was just a,
Okay,
I think that's, because I had asked him, there's nothing, it doesn't say for any of us to sign it, so.
right. Right, FYI, okay, perfect.
And we can sign Mickey Mouse and send it back to him.
Yeah. No, I thought maybe that's what he brought for us.
Yeah.
You could just sign it.
Okay, so we're gonna, all right, the next item. I think we need to pass on till we get on the 23rd.
I agree.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, good. Let me see. Discuss it. The next item. Just a minute. To discuss, consider a resolution providing for the financial support of the Area 15 Regional Planning Commission. Who's on this?
I am.
Okay,
And we budgeted for this. It's a per capita of 55 cents for a total of $2,615.25. I guess you could technically call it dues. Or
26.
membership
Would
fee.
you repeat that? AJ was talking to you.
Oh,
Understood.
did you get it all down? Okay, did you get it? Yeah, okay, so we're good. So I would make a motion.
What about me? How
Are
much
you
was the
good?
dollar amount?
Oh, you want?
I'm gonna be good.
2,615.25. 55 cents per capita.
Okay,
And this would be from June 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
okay.
We've been a member of Area 15 Regional Planning. A lot of things that they have changed over those years, but they do a lot of community development block grants for cities within our region and so
Yeah.
on and so forth.
We've been the recipient of several of those.
Okay. So I can make a motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye, aye.
I am the official representative, but I don't know who, off the top of my head, who the alternate is, but
It's one of us. Next item on the agenda is discuss and consider possible further training on open meetings laws.
there's one more on there, I think.
Where's that?
No, there is not. Yeah, consider resolution approving financial support for RPA.
Okay, you're absolutely right.
Usually signs down.
And I'm also on that board, and that is $2,824. That is a big deal for us. It is, we receive a lot of federal funds through this entity. Obviously, it's part of Area 15 Regional Planning. Dwayne sits on the TAC committee. So there's again, cities get money for street projects, trail projects, that sort of thing. We get federal dollars. We use, right now for this project we're doing this summer on Libertyville Road, about 1.4 million of that comes from this program.
Thank you, Lee.
So,
Thank you very much.
I would make a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
funds for $2,824.
So moved again.
Second,
Signifying, yes?
Aye.
All right. Joe, you're approved?
yes,
Okay, thank you. Motion
I'm
passed.
sorry.
We still have a few items on here before you start the Joint Supervisor Board of Health meeting. It is way past 10 o'clock, and I do apologize for people who are just sitting here waiting for that to happen. So should we go down to the Board of Health meeting
Yeah, that's fine.
or the Joint Supervisor Board of Health meeting?
So if I may, Bruce Hudson's here, and I invited Bruce. Bruce was over at Jackson Point today, and we were installing new fire extinguishers and batteries on
Are
the.
you helping Bruce do that?
I gave him direction
I'm sorry, Bruce.
that it was at 802 West Jackson. That's the directions I gave him. He and Andrea have done everything. We are 16 rented. 16 rented. And we're waiting to video one this, so we should have 17 rented by the first of the month. And, anyway, long story short, Bruce agreed to stop by and explain, I used to call it grants to counties. What's it called, Bruce?
Private well program,
You do that one.
private well
Private
program.
well program. And so he was just gonna give us a brief overview of how that
We got 3 copies that can stump play.
works, so that we can probably understand the environmental health budget. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it.
Sure. So basically, in a nutshell, you get a grant from the state that you apply for, you sign a contract, public health enters into a contract with, or the Board of Health enters into a contract with the state. And then there's money allocated to each county. From that monies, then you have, well, water testing that you can do. And then there's like well closures that you can do, there's cistern closures you can do. And then there's equipment, some paper, for example, publishing in newspapers, for example. So you can draw from that grant from the work that you do. Every quarter you submit the, I guess, invoices or whatever expenses you have to the state. And then you receive within 30 days or so, reallocation of monies coming out of that grant back to the county. But for all of the work that you're doing, a lot of it's pass through dollars. But if I go out and test a well and for water and send that off, there's a portion of that monies that comes back to the county. So some will go to whatever lab you used for the testing. And then some of the money comes back to the county and stays within the county. It'd be the same thing for cistern closures or well closure. There's money that's passed through and sent off to the homeowner. And then there's a portion of those dollars that stay in the county for doing that work. So it's pretty, and the grant's been around for a long time. And then here I think it's about a month and a half ago, they did a reallocation. They do at least one this year. I think they're going to be doing 2 for counties. So you're issued your allotment of money at the beginning, and then they look at it about midway through the fiscal year. And they say, okay, counties are likely going to use it all, or some counties use it all. Some counties use a portion of it, so then they reallocate some of those monies to other counties to ensure that they're using those funds, and they're not just sitting there not being used.
So for budget purposes, we should always budget the, whatever the amount is, that's the maximum of the grant.
Yeah, so typically the contract's about 5 years, but the allocation of dollars sometimes differ. Because I think right now we're like 45,454. Last fiscal year, we were like 50,505 or something like that. But your budget should represent what you think you're going to be getting. Now, sometimes you're not gonna know because you're setting your budget now. You know at least what your last number was. So you should be somewhere in that range for budgeting purposes. That's what I would do. And then, so again, you may not likely use all those dollars, but you could. So if you had an event come through where there'd say, in this county's less, wells and stuff, I get that. But if you had a, say, God forbid, a tornado come through or, an event like that would affect something, or a flood, where there's a lot of wells, you may use a lot more than you think. Other counties that we work in, they mainly have wells. And we use almost all of, and we're looking to reallocate and receive on the second round of reallocation in that county. So I would definitely budget for what you think or what the contract is for, what within reason. I get it, because you're in budgeting right now, and you may not know until July what that number is going to be.
So it could, just hypothetically, it could be 50,000, could be 40,000.
Could be.
But if we look at what the current year is and put that in there, then we can adjust accordingly.
Right,
We know we're not gonna get any more revenue than whatever they allocate.
right.
Um,
Unless you're one of the counties that gets reallocated too. So if you got the 45,454 and you used all of it and they reallocate another 27,000 to you, then in that case, you may want to come back and revisit that. But in this county, it's because you had an event, something happened
right.
that is now you're looking to reuse all of that. Because there's a portion within the budget or within that grant that if you get so close to using all of the dollars, then you're required to then report what you're using it for and how you're using it.
So when we put that in the budget as on the revenue line item, then we should put an equal amount then on the expense line item.
Within reason, I wouldn't go any lower than what your previous grant dollars were. You could have more, which is fine, but the likelihood of using it all would be pretty small. Now, with that being said, I mean, there's some testing out there that's $1,000 a test. If you're going to do those tests, and if we start seeing that crop up in this county, $1,000, that's not very much. I mean, you're doing, plus all the other work that you're doing, it's not going to take very long to get through it.
Any questions for Bruce?
No, I was just thinking, first of all, thank you, Bruce, very
You're welcome.
much. I was just thinking it's too bad the Board of Health folks couldn't have shown up for this meeting
Well, it was unfortunate.
because we only have one.
Right.
And perhaps, I hope you're taking good notes so you can explain to them.
I can.
Thank you. Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah. So Shannon's here too, as far as we're looking at the budget, and Jerry's online or on Zoom. So what we have on there's, and I'm not sure that I understand it all either, but so for example, when this budget was prepared for 25-26, where we're currently in, well testing and abandonment, we budgeted a total of $10,000. Year-to-date activity, we've received $11,614.90, but on the expense side, we only budgeted $7,500 and we've expended $9,240. So it's kind of, I'm not sure how we fix that. To be perfectly honest with you, for this budget year. And then there's also $1,884.80 that was expended for education and training, which apparently was funded through a grant, but there's no line item for that. So in that line item, there was nothing budgeted. And then the other issue is there was 3 line items budgeted. 500 for stationery, 800 for minor equipment and hand tools, and another 300 for minor equipment and hand tools. Nothing has been expended out of those line items, which is fine. I'm just saying that it's there. And then the other thing is that I thought we probably should visit is we have other professional and technical or technology services or whatever, a budget of $1,000. There's been $15.63 expended a year-to-date activity. This was as of January 31st. I think, and Jerry can speak to this, I think that was for the server and stuff. And I would like to see that changed if we can, moving forward, where we give him an email address and it goes through our server, so then we retain all
Records.
records and stuff through our server. So and one of the things that we did when Regional Utility Service Systems was here, or the Board of Health did, let me put it that way. In the budget, so I think currently right now, what we actually quote pay to the vendor is $77,200. We budgeted, or the Board of Health budgeted, when the Regional Utility Service Systems was here, was $84,209. But then everything, Russ paid everything out of that. Everything, we paid for everything, the fuel, no mileage, that was all. And then when they got revenue from the grants to counties, which is what they called it in those days, that, as he indicated, was passed through, and that went then right directly to the Board of Health. So there were, I don't know if that's a cleaner, simpler way for everybody to do it or not.
Lee, could you go to the Board of Health on the 12th and explain this to them so they, since they're not here to understand this or
Right.
hear it?
Yeah,
I just think it's cleaner look.
what I need to know is, do we have to do, something before then?
We'll have to do something. The biggest problem we're looking at right now is
Come up here and have
there's
a seat.
there's
We'd like to
only
see you.
15,000 left in the budget, and there's 19,000 in contract payments left. So he doesn't have enough budget even to make the contract payments. So definitely he'll have to have a budget amendment.
So my question is, we do a budget amendment. Where does that additional money come from?
It would come from the reserves. General or rural basic.
But I guess
Reserves.
what I'm asking is, if the contract amount was $77,200, how are we $4,000 short? If he's just been getting the same amount each month.
Because there's been other expenditures that there was no budget for. Or there wasn't enough budget. For the well abandonment, the budget was $7,500, and as of this report, February 13th, there's been 10,000 expended. $10,234.
So what's the revenue then of this date? On the other side,
Total revenue is 29,000.
no, I mean on the well abandonment.
Oh. $11,614.90
Okay,
as of the 13th.
okay, so I'm confused how we went up. Well, we went up $800 in expenses roughly, right? You said 10,000 in the expense side versus 7,500.
And then also on the education and training line, there's been $1,884.80 expended, and there was no budget there.
So I would ask Jerry, since he's on Zoom, this is how I do my budget. You have money in, you have money out. And if it's not coming out of the correct line item, then the revenue coming back in needs to be amended. So is he getting reimbursed for the training? Jerry, are you getting reimbursed for your training? Or is that an expense that will have no reimbursement come back with it?
Yeah, Chris, good question there. This is a line item that should have been moved to mileage reimbursement. So it would have been more indicated of what that was. That was reimbursement from the state of Iowa grant program for the mileage that I would have had to go to in those classes and any other expense. Most generally, when the DNR or DMAC puts on training, they allow people like myself to receive that training at no cost, because it wouldn't make any sense that they would charge the county and then turn around and reimburse the county back money for that training.
But it's a process question. So when you expend money to go to training, whether it's free or not, you're gonna have expenses that go along with that. And you vouch a grant or whatever, then where do you put that revenue back? You gotta have a revenue out and a revenue in line item that speaks to each other on your budget. So if that's the confusing part, I can't speak to that. But that's what I do when I have grants come in, and I don't expend money from all my grants. It just comes in as revenue because it's matching my salary. So I don't have an outgoing for expenditure. It just comes in as revenue. But when I know I'm gonna expend money from a grant line item, it's like for preparedness. The supervisors have heard me talk about emergency preparedness. So I plug in $5,000 or $10,000, whatever I think I might receive. And then I have that much money for revenue and expenditures, and it might not always equal the same amount. I don't pull it out of a different line item. It goes straight to preparedness.
Correct. And when I looked at that line item for reimbursement, I looked at it as in the prior budget years, there was reimbursement through the county credit card paying that out. And again, that should have been something that maybe I should have had a better explanation from yourself, possibly anybody else that would have been involved in this.
Well, we had a couple conversations about it, so I was pretty straightforward with that process.
You told me that I was supposed to take this and put it into the mileage budget item. We never had any discussion like that.
No.
You know, if I could just stop this for a minute. We don't
Yeah.
have an agenda for this meeting. Okay, I think we need to move this to the next Board of Health meeting with an agenda so we all can just know what we're talking about.
It's on the agenda for them to approve the Board of Health.
His budget.
Well, Jerry, just real quickly, even if that was indeed the case, that, you were told it should be in the employee mileage and subsistence, but you're not an employee, let's just say for sake of argument, that's what you were told. You didn't put anything in there.
No, I didn't put anything in there, Lee, because I wasn't going to get reimbursed from my mileage
That goes with this.
to drive around and do all the stuff that I was doing with the county. Yeah.
So
And we can
I
get
understand
enough
that,
tomorrow.
but
Sure.
let me finish, please. What you're showing is $1,884.80 in expenses under the expense line item, but nothing under the revenue line item to cover it anywhere. Is my point. So if you knew that that was going to be reimbursement, then somewhere in a line item, it should have shown that there was going to maybe a line item of $2,000 to as revenue, because we're not showing any revenue at all to cover that $1,884.80.
That would have been returned in a grant funding. Yeah. So yeah, we didn't put it in as a revenue because it went in as a block revenue from the Iowa grants. It didn't.
Where?
Well, I guess you had looked back into it here just recently with the auditor. There was one check of like $8,400. One was $1,390, something like that, and then there was another one for $500.
Jerry, I think you were telling me that it was deposited in with the well testing and abandonment. And
Correct.
maybe what we need to do in the future is you can deposit it into two different lines. So
Yeah.
even though it's one check, you can still put it in multiple lines. So
Right,
we
yeah.
maybe need to create a number to use for the reimbursement for mileage and training.
So the
Yeah.
question then, Jerry, is why is there $10,000 expended in well abandonment versus 7,500 that you budgeted? And if all this other money that's come in that's reflective on the $11,614 on the well test and abandonment revenue side, I don't know.
Okay. Are you done there first? I'll try to answer that for you, all right? That $7,500 was just a best guess estimate of what I was gonna do. But then right at the end of the year, I found out that there had been several well closures that were done before I took the position that then got turned in at the end of 24 that I had to take and add into the amount that I was having coming in and going out again. So that 7,500 didn't even begin to reflect what was going to have to come out before I started this position.
So it took a year to get reimbursed?
No, it didn't take a year to get reimbursed. No, I didn't know about them until the end of 24. And then, of course, it takes 3 months to turn it in to get reimbursed through the cycle of Iowa grants.
Jerry,
So
I think hadn't you told me that you had a contractor who was late submitting his claims?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, we had a contractor come in just right at the end of the year and handed me 12 well closures. I was hoping that right at that time that I could turn it all in, but then there happened to be a problem that he wasn't on the certification list. So we had to work through that into January, that then caused that all delay happen. And then that money finally came in the middle of April, I believe, maybe.
So with Chris's permission, you may have to update your agenda, or you said it was on the agenda.
Well, Jerry sent me his agenda items last week. I'm gonna send it to the chair and vice chair today for them to look at and make any changes, and then I'll send the official agenda out after I get their.
We might want to give you some more stuff for that agenda.
So
That
we gotta do something before the 12th is what you're telling me.
No, I wouldn't say that it has to happen before the
Because right now there
12th,
isn't
but
There isn't anything on the agenda.
you only meet once a month though, right?
once every other month.
Every other, yeah, it can't wait until.
No, I get that, but we could put it back on for the 16th to decide how we're going to cover this
This year.
additional expense.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Shannon?
Well, I guess I'm not sure how we coordinate with the Board of Health as far as the budget amendment.
That's Jerry's responsibility to
Yeah.
verbalize that.
And we're gonna have to decide as a board how we're going.
Jerry, have you
That's
already
correct.
talked to the Board of Health about the need for an amendment?
Yes, I have, Shannon. We kind of discussed them two different topics, the avenue that you gave me, that wasn't going to be applicable now. Like Chris has just said, I've already have it on my agenda to discuss about the amendment and the budget shortfall.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Discuss and consider EH budget amendment.
I would like to also mention that this well closings that got handed to me at the end of that first year, that all took place back in the first quarter of that fiscal year. So I'm not sure why the lag happened there where somebody wasn't following up on these well closures at the time, July and August when those were going on. So I mean that did leave quite a issue there within the budget right off the bat when I didn't see that coming.
Jerry, thank you for the
Yes, ma'am.
information.
Thank
Please
you, Madam
make
Chair.
sure
Appreciate
that
it.
you coordinate that with Christy Nystrom. And
Yeah, well,
Bobby's going to get this on our agenda on the 16th of this month, this year.
The 12th.
so again, Madam Chair,
Are you going?
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
I missed it.
6 o'clock.
Put treats. Chris is bringing treats.
Nope, thanks.
All right.
She always has treats on the table, don't she?
It's a treat just to be around her.
That's right.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
this was recorded in case I have to refer back to it, correct?
that is correct. I suppose you could contact the auditor to help you with that if you need to do that.
Yeah, sure. Christy's been extra helpful here in this last while. I appreciate it, Christy. Thank you for your time, guys.
He was talking to you.
Checks it.
Welcome, Gary.
Thank you. Okay, Lee, do you have to go anywhere before we start?
No, I think we're,
You sure?
no, I'm not sure, but I think we're okay.
Okay.
I can send AJ if I need to.
I'm not sure. Next item is to discuss, consider possible further training on open meetings laws. I think I've been told open meetings laws have changed somewhat and the fines are a lot bigger. So it doesn't ever hurt for us to have a refresher.
Yeah.
And so
So you're gonna contact him and set that up?
I will.
Okay, perfect. So I gotta talk to Joe Lynch.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
So I'll report back on that next Monday, okay? Would that be okay, Abby? Will you be here?
So,
Unless you in the lottery, I
She
get
goes
it.
back to St. Louis.
Hey, listen, I think what she did was something.
Oh, that's
great
right.
thing.
Yeah, you are. Thank you.
Okay, let's make committee reports. Lee's getting out these little handy dandy thing.
Yeah. Smart people use smartphones, but I use a smart book.
I have no problem with that.
I just gotta remember what week it was. Oh. Well, I actually had a 10:15 transit meeting that I didn't go to because I was in Iowa City having laser work done
Yeah.
on my eye, which went well. But I will inform the board that I've put, or asked Abby to put on next Monday's agenda for us to discuss and consider waiving the remaining balance of the special nuisance assessment on 1185 Brookville. And I will explain that to everybody
Next
on
month.
that time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is that it for your committee
Yeah.
reports?
Yeah.
So I will, well, you can go first if you want. I just want to reiterate that the chamber, Mindy from the chamber, of course, we're going to have the chamber dinner, I think March 16th, which is coming right up. April 16th. Okay. Yeah, you're right. And it's going to be about having a spring tea party. So you guys would be so cute there.
Oh,
please send pictures.
I will.
Wear your knickers.
You know, it kind of made me think of the Alice in Wonderland, you know, and people dressing up like the Mad Hatter and
yeah.
Bunny Rabbit,
Yeah, what's
drinking
that?
a teacup, and I could see you guys participating. Yes.
What do they call those ones that have the goggles and what is that group? It's a,
Do you know? You're a younger person.
I have no idea.
Okay, we're clueless.
Minions.
huh?
Minions.
Oh.
Thank
No,
you.
no, it's a group of people that it goes back in time or something, or it's in the future too. I'm not exactly sure what.
Steampunk.
Huh? Say it.
Steampunk.
Yeah, Steve.
Okay, Joe, I gotta look it up too.
I know of it.
Yeah, okay.
That was before our time.
Absolutely was. I will also say that on April 21st, I got the month right this time, the Supreme Court is coming to Fairfield.
Yes, I got that in my book.
The important people, and they're including us, so we should be very honored. We're gonna have dinner over here and about 6:30 we're going. And then the general public, the general public is going to go down to the auditorium at the high school and the Supreme Court is going to debate a case, a real case.
Oh, sweet.
And so I think that'll be kind
Are you gonna be there?
of, sure.
Okay, you could interview me after.
Interview will last.
Be late.
Hey, what would be me? Yeah, okay, I could do that.
Oh dear. I can't remember I don't think we had a lot last week for meetings.
Yeah.
Do we?
You done?
Yeah, I think so.
Monday afternoon, I was down to Eric Tedrow's about the bridge. I was back again on Wednesday afternoon. Let's see, what else did we do here?
You want to look at your costume choices, Chris? No. Okay.
I went Friday morning. I was invited to the FFA breakfast. This was Ag Week last week, and the FFA students provided breakfast for the public, and I went to that. Had a good time. Kids had to arrive at 5 o'clock in the morning, and at 6:30, some of them still had toothpicks in their eyes, holding their eyes. They did a good job. Has a good crowd there. So, not on the agenda for this, but got to put a plug in. Casey's had a fish fry Friday night at the church. We served over 247 people. Rough count. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. We appreciate it.
It's really good.
Everything we make from that, we're going to dump into scholarships this year again for the students. So. And I think that was all I had.
Well, as a continuance of my wounded hand, I will bring a picture next week of the baby colt.
It scratched you.
No, the colt, please, one more time. I was sitting with my cat.
Oh, okay.
7-year-old screaming came in and go, oh, we're having a baby. And the cat went,
Well, of course, the cat was having the baby. It had to go somewhere.
yeah. Bruce, do you see what we have to put up with? You know, do you see this? Okay. He's a smart man.
He is. Very smart.
Anyway,
Read a public comment.
oh, you've made it one more,
She's
sure.
waited this long, yes.
I have indeed waited this long. So are you guys gonna put it on your agenda to attend the Board of Health meeting?
Yes.
Please and thank you. That's my request.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock at the health department. Yes. I'm just making sure while everybody's here that that's the request.
Chris, that's why I brought up treats, of which you said you would not make them. So I don't know.
You never know, I might do something. I just want to make sure that that was indeed on there. So,
Yeah.
thank you. All right.
Anything else, Chris?
No.
You sure?
Thanks. No, I can say that I didn't go to the KC's last Friday. I went a week ago. It was really
we
good.
appreciate
It
it.
was really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of
So if you
work.
haven't been out there, I would highly recommend you get something. It was good.
What?
Out at the St. Mary's Church.
Oh,
Right. We don't have one this week. We do again next week.
Listen,
We gotta have,
every other.
we had the past 2 Fridays, we took a week off. It's a lot of work, but we have a lot of guys show
No,
up too.
KC's, the Knights of
Oh,
Columbus,
oh,
do it at
okay.
the St. Mary's.
I get it.
Yeah. Not
Yeah, we-
Casey's, as in
Yeah, really,
Casey's.
I call it Casey's Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
Okay, the next and final, I hope, is to allow claims and approve reports.
Public comments.
Huh? Oh, any public comments? I thought they did.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
Any public comments? Any public comments? Any public comments? That's 3 times we have none. Any mellow? Uh-oh. It's his job.
All right. Drum roll, please. Motion to allow claims and approve reports in the amount of $37,599.84.
That was a slow week.
Cheap week.
Maybe.
So moved.
I'm
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
now we are going to
I
move
have one
into,
more thing. that
absolutely.
Christie brought up on number 6. I think, didn't you write down what he wrote, or he made the wrong amount in the motion?
I thought it said.
He said 28, 24. Is that wrong?
Yeah.
think that's 2,824,000.
Oh, you're right. 33,7. We need to correct the record.
$2,824 and some change?
Yeah, it
Can we get
was
it?
$3,397, not 200 and, not 2,824,000.
So you're making a motion to amend that.
So 33,97. Thank you, Kristen. Very much. So Susie signed it, so.
Don't laugh at him, really. He keeps it up with me. Okay,
Yeah.
so stop it. Budget work session, do we want to, or is it
I
on
don't,
here?
I don't know if Shannon has anything to mention.
Would you ask her if she'd like to talk to us about anything, please? Thank you.
Oh, really?
It's a dreary day. I think we're gonna get rain the rest of the week.
Dude,
Uh-huh. So we'll find out how much that brick water goes
as
up
long
for
as the
that day.
temperatures.
Sir, it's not going to be. Unless you stay home.
Thunderstorms Friday, they say.
Really?
44, 46, 54, 70, 61, 60, and 69.
I like the end of that.
That's okay.
I like the ending of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you have to.
Well, honestly, I'll take the 44 as opposed to
0.
She doesn't.
Just not.
motion to adjourn.
Hearing there's no more for the business. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.